I watched in amazement as they worked tirelessly with their mandibles, stripping into the wooden fibers of Edward's arch. Seeing this was truly mind-blowing from a scientific standpoint, and soon you too will learn why. But before all that, you guys have to see the big reveal. Have a look. I managed to create something truly magnificent, enveloped within this cloud of mist. A piece of pristine rainforest created within 6 panes of glass. To house some gigantic creatures I actually collected from a cloud rainforest. These menacing yet one-of-a-kind beasts will blow you away, and so too will their epic reaction to this new lush kingdom in the mist I've built for them. Welcome everyone to the Ants Canada Ant Channel, Earwig Edition. Please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon. Welcome to the AC family. Enjoy. Excuse me while I fill up this new earwig farm to be with a super humidifying fog to prep the lands for the grand introduction of our new giant black earwig colony, whom you'll officially be meeting in just a sec. The things I managed to film this week when the earwigs were actually moved in to populate these lands were intriguing, unexpected, and as beautiful as nature gets. But just a heads up, as always, I have a big surprise waiting for you guys at the end. And we'll be needing your help deciding on something regarding our new giant earwig colony. So stay tuned for all that coming up. Okay, so before the grand reveal of this lush new terrarium kingdom we have waiting for our giant earwigs to move into, let's meet our new pack of beloved giant earwigs, shall we? Within this temporary holding container lay 20 or so giant black earwigs, collected from the cloud rainforest of Mount Banahao from last week's episode. They are absolutely massive earwigs, twice as big as the dinky little ones I grew up knowing in Canada. Have a look at them, guys. Pretty scary looking, right? Now, I've been trying to identify their exact species, but there are currently about 2,000 different known species of earwigs in the world, all belonging to the order Dermoptera. And I initially assumed these beasts to be the common black earwig species known as Chelisoches morio, but I'll show you throughout this video why I suspect they may be a different species, perhaps even an undiscovered one. We've already made several scientific discoveries on this channel in the world of ants, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was still much to learn in the science of earwigs as well. Now, I find earwigs to be an underappreciated, underrated, and often overlooked insect, overshadowed in popularity by cute beetles, butterflies, and grasshoppers. But I've come to learn they're actually quite interesting as far as insects go. So I'm happy to finally be able to feature them on the channel for the first time. So the name earwig comes from an old wives' tale that earwigs supposedly burrow into the brains of humans through the ear and lay their eggs there. This is of course untrue, but it doesn't mean I'd keep my guard down around them just yet. Though many websites deem earwigs safe, I beg to differ because I distinctly remember picking up an earwig as a kid and being pierced by its forceps, resulting in 2 tiny blood marks on my 7-year-old finger. I was fine because these things don't have venom like scorpions do, but the experience was enough to scar me for life. And I have forever filed earwigs collectively into the dangerous category in my head. Even if most informational resources online deem earwigs safe for humans and pinches from their forceps rare. But my, do these guys have some crazy looking forceps. I won't dare touch the earwigs with my bare fingers. These long and scary forcep-like appendages serve various functions. They're used to help fold up their wings under leathery plates on their back. And yes, these earwigs do fly. I've witnessed them buzzing through the air surprisingly well around the rainforest when I was there. They're also used for a mating ritual, and of course for defense. When paired with a really foul defensive odor earwigs release in the face of a predator or when scared, it's easy to see why earwigs are definitely not creatures to mess with in the rainforest. This group of earwigs is composed of both males and females, and earwigs of various ages, from juveniles to adult. Though they aren't eusocial insects like ants and termites, they are known to live in loose colonies and simply tolerate living together. But one thing I was really looking forward to was the parental behaviors of the female earwigs. You see, earwigs are quite unique in that once females lay eggs, they defend, protect, and care for the clutch, and even the babies once they hatch. Earwigs are good mommies, and it's not something you can say for most non-eusocial insects like beetles, butterflies, and grasshoppers. If our earwig colony was to successfully breed, one of my ultimate goals was to capture their maternal tendencies over their eggs and young on film. Newly spawned eggs for Chelisochis morio are supposed to be white or creamy white, so I took a mental note of that in case we were lucky enough to come across an earwig nest chamber. Now, one of the things I needed to study about these earwigs was what they ate. Earwigs are known to be generalist feeders, eating both plant and animal matter, with the dietary ratios of both varying depending on species. According to my research, the species Chelisochis morio are important predators of many pest insects in human agriculture. But so far, I have found these earwigs ignore pre-killed termite olates, but really love decaying plant matter. I have also found these earwigs enjoy banana, as you can tell from the chunks bitten from this piece here. They poop a lot, and it was clear that in the rainforest of Mount Banahaw, where they're from, they're an important detritivore, helping to break down decaying organic matter back into the soil. The fact that the earwigs seem to be more vegetarian than predatory is one of the reasons I suspect that these earwigs are not the common black earwig species Chelisochis morio, but some other species, or again possibly even a new species. Any dermopterologists out there care to take a stab, no pun intended, at species ID? Whatever the case, after observing these earwigs in their holding container over the past 2 days, I found them to be pretty cool insects. But guys, they're about to get a whole lot cooler to look at once we move them into a more naturalistic setting. It was time for the epic creation of their new kingdom. AC family, behold the empty slate of a world which will act as the astral shell to our earwig's future domain. A tall glass enclosure which opens from the front and has its ventilation slots at the top, covered by mesh. Within these 6 panes of glass, we will need to recreate the natural habitat of our earwigs. And the best part about it all is if you managed to catch last week's episode, you already know a lot about what their native environment is like. So AC family, let's recreate a mini version of the Mount Banahaw rainforest, shall we? First, we needed a drainage layer. For that, I used volcanic rock. In the past, I used to skip this important step in the terrarium building process, but I've come to learn that this drainage layer is super important for longevity because it will ensure the soils don't get too waterlogged and foul up from going anaerobic, which can kill beneficial soil creatures. Any type of coarse gravel would do for a drainage layer. But I found volcanic rock to be very fitting, since Mount Banahaw, where the earwigs are from, is actually also a semi-active volcano. On top of this gravel layer, I placed a layer of mesh to keep it separate from the topsoil. And then AC family, you guys will love this. I proceeded to add in actual soils I scooped up from the Mount Banahaw rainforest. This soil was rich in microorganisms, soil creatures, and organic constituents native to where the earwigs are from, which will truly help them feel right at home. And guys, after an hour and a half of world building, this was what our new earwig kingdom looked like. AC family, behold! I, your creator of worlds, am pleased to present the Oracle, our new lush mountain jungle kingdom for our new giant earwigs. I've enveloped the kingdom with a thick cloud to anoint the territories with a humidifying mist, like the clouds that blanket Mount Banahaw, lifting the front glass, and as the mist is released, you can now see the little heavenly corner of rainforest habitat I've prepared for the earwigs. Isn't it beautiful? Come, I'll show you around. I've named this jungle terrarium the Oracle, which is the medical term for the visible part of the human ear, which I found fitting seeing as earwigs will be moving in here, but also because an oracle, spelled with an O, means a person who communicates with a deity. And again, if you saw last week's episode in the rainforest, you know the reference. The oracle is a tall standing rainforest build, which I wanted because I noticed that our giant earwigs love to climb and access all levels of the rainforest, not just the floor. But let's start with the floor, an area I call the Banahao Spread. This here is a recreation of the rainforest leaf litter layer, where I anticipate the earwigs will forage. The best part? These pieces of leaf litter were also collected from Mount Banahao, so our earwigs could settle in with more familiar elements of home. I plan for the Banahao Spread to be where I drop their food, like decaying fruit and plant matter. But the soils and leaf litter aren't the only elements of home I brought back to incorporate into the setup. The ferns were also brought in from Mount Banahao and look totally awesome in the living space. To give the territories that rocky mountain feel, I've also added large stones around the lands. I've added a couple spider plants, Chlorophytum comosum, for that exotic pop and feel of the tropics. At the center is a Ficus microcarpa plant, which I found to be very attractive and functional too. They would serve as an excellent place for humidity droplets to form and offer a refreshing drink for our earwigs. The lands are decked out with a network of driftwood to mimic the entanglement of trees, sticks, and vines I saw in the Mount Banahao rainforest. And one of my favorite features of this jungle terrarium is what I call Edward's Arch, named after the famous Edward Scissorhands, an image which comes to mind when I look at these giant black earwigs. Edward's Arch would act as a beautiful walkway for the earwigs to cross from one side of the oracle to the other, as well as give us a perfect view of the earwigs as they traverse this natural stick bridge. The land is also stocked with mosses and a tall arrowhead plant, also known as Syngonium podophyllum, tying in that rainforest look. And that, my friends, is the complete tour of the oracle, the kingdom of our new giant earwigs. Do you think they'll like it? Was it a satisfactory recreation of their natural rainforest at Mount Banahao? I sure hope so, but it was now time to find out. Here we go! Standing at the foot of the oracle was the earwigs holding container. I was sure the earwigs were eager to move out of this foreign space and into more familiar surroundings. But I knew this introductory operation was critical, and I needed to act quickly. AC family, let's do this. I carefully poured the earwigs and all their matter into the oracle, and arranged the leaf litter. My hope was that the earwigs wouldn't start flying out of the setup into my condo. Thankfully, only a few managed to crawl out. But since I was wearing gloves, I wasn't afraid to pick them up with my fingers and place them into the terrarium. All I could smell was their defensive odor, which smelled kind of like burning rubber and made me a bit nauseous. I worked as quickly as I could. When I was done arranging the leaf litter around the Banahao Spread, I replaced the front glass to seal our new giant earwig colony in. And AC family, check out what I saw. A large adult female explored her new Syngonium skypod, suspended up in the Orichellian skies. She loved the new smells and sights, some familiar, some new, but definitely a place she could call home. Another earwig enjoyed crawling on one of the driftwood branches, in the shadows, to see where it led. It was really cool to see the earwigs curiously exploring their new living space. Many earwigs were checking out the roof area. What a strange structure. Within the jungle landscape, it was just much more interesting to see the earwigs in a more naturalistic context, traveling with their abdomens and giant forceps held high, scorpion style, as they walked around. But now that I could see the earwigs much more clearly, there were a few surprises I spotted in the oracle. Let me start from least shocking to most shocking. First, Edward's Arch. As expected, the earwigs instantly took to this landmark, crawling up and down it like some effective highway to get around the lands. They were loving it, but there was more to the value of Edward's Arch for the earwigs that I didn't expect. I was surprised to see a teenager earwig munching on something on Edward's Arch. What could it possibly be eating, I wondered? Fungus, perhaps? But there was no visible fungus layer growing on the wood. But then I spotted an adult earwig come along and also join in on the munch fest. And that's when it hit me. The earwigs were eating the decaying wood. Wow! AC family, this was pretty amazing to me because in all my research on black earwigs, it mentioned they could feed on vegetation. But I never read that they ate wood, which is a very specific type of plant matter that would have been mentioned in the research. Because not all insects, nor animals for that matter, are capable of digesting actual wood. Digestion of wood is only seen in a handful of insects which possess the specific microbiota in their gut to digest it, like termites for instance. But it was very interesting to know that it appeared as though these giant earwigs of ours were also wood eaters. How cool! Now as for the second surprise, as I was watching the earwigs feed on Edward's Arch, another peculiar creature stepped onto the branch that I totally did not expect to see. AC family, can you tell me what you think this creature is? It stood perfectly still as the earwigs munched on wood all around it. It looks kind of like an ant, right? Well, AC family, this is actually a beetle, an ant mimic, probably mimicking the huge black polyrachus ants of Mount Banahaw. A pretty clever disguise, as most creatures stay away from ants because they're not tasty and often aggressive. But many predators relish beetles. When the coast was clear, the ant-mimicking beetle proceeded down Edward's Arch. It seemed both beetle and earwigs knew to try to stay out of each other's way. So cool to see it here, and I assumed I must have unintentionally scooped it up when collecting leaf litter or soil from the rainforest. Alright, and now for the biggest surprise of all. Ready for this? I checked the Banahaw spread to see how the earwigs were liking it at ground level. I immediately noticed there were many earwigs now rummaging through the leaf litter for edible goodies. There were indeed lots of great darkened areas to check out here. But going in with a light, I wasn't prepared to see what I saw next. OMG! Eggs! AC family, the sight was so moving. A mother was standing over her clutch of eggs, which she must have recently laid while they were all in the holding container. This here was the future generation of earwig orichalcans. As if the earwig gods heard my desires through the ether, here we were laying eyes on a mother earwig tending to her newborn eggs. I watched in amazement as she cleaned the eggs one by one, and even stepped aside to perform bathroom duties away from the eggs for cleanliness, then returning to guard over them. At one point, another curious earwig came by, and bam! Mother whipped her sharp forceps around, ready to defend her young to the death. Now, one thing I did notice were these eggs were not white, nor cream-colored, as the literature said eggs of common black earwigs were. These eggs were clearly yellow in color, right guys? This was another reason I felt this might be a totally different species, but let's hope a dermatologist chimes in somewhere in the comments to shed some light. Whatever the case, this was all truly an awesome sight to witness, and I was grateful to have such a peek into the lives of these giant earwigs, which I no longer felt a fear of. Now at the start of the video, I mentioned that I'd be needing your help. AC family, these new inhabitants of our Antiverse will need an official name. And so I ask you now, what should we name this colony of giant earwigs? Let me know in the comments, and your AC Senate and I will choose our top 5 favorites for us to vote on in a future video. Overall, I truly hope the earwig colony would continue to thrive and breed in the Oracle. Of course, I knew there were no guarantees, because the environmental conditions up in the mountains were very different from that of the lowland city where I lived. But I spent 2 days in Mount Banahaw and knew the conditions they needed. These earwigs liked it cooler and humid, so I would keep them in an air-conditioned room, spray them daily with a hand mister, and fill the Oracle with clouds every now and then. If I happen to see they aren't adapting well to captivity, I can always release them back into the rainforest where they were collected, as I plan on going back to Mount Banahaw again sometime next month. But so far, it seems they're doing okay and breeding. I'll be sure to keep you guys all updated on their progress as time goes on. Oh yeah, and speaking of which, I also mentioned a big surprise at the start of the video. I felt the Oracle needed a muse. Another beast that I felt would make a great companion to live alongside our giant earwigs, whom I also collected from the rainforest, and who also made an appearance in last week's episode. I am confident you will really love her. AC family, can you guess who? AC family, did you enjoy today's episode? Full of surprises and beauty? And what other creature would we be adding to the Oracle, you ask? Ha! You won't want to miss next week's episode, so be sure to smash that subscribe button and bell icon now, and hit all so you get notified at every upload. Also, don't forget to hit the like button every single time, including now. It would really mean a lot to me, guys. Thank you. AC Inner Colony, I have left a hidden cookie for you here if you would like to see extended play footage of the giant earwigs living in the Oracle. Go check them out. And guys, did you know that it's anting season in the Northern Hemisphere? And you don't even need to leave your home to start an ant colony. You can catch pregnant queen ants from the safety of your own backyard, balcony, or open window starting this month. Be sure to visit antscanada.com for all your ant keeping and collecting gear shipped to you in a special package from our ant-loving facility in the USA, so you can get the most out of your ant keeping experience. We ship worldwide and also offer full email support if you need our help. We also have a helpful forum and ant colony trading marketplace on the site. Visit antscanada.com today. And now it's time for the AC question of the week. Last week we asked, which was your favorite creature shown in this video? Congratulations to Shilpi Kumar Fleming, who answered the crab spider. Congratulations Jojo, you just won a free Ultimate Ant Keeping Handbook from our shop. In this week's AC question of the week, we ask, where did the name Earwig come from? Leave your answer in the comment section, and you could also win a free Ultimate Ant Keeping Handbook from our shop. Hope you can subscribe to the channel as we upload every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video to help us keep making more. It's Ant Love forever.